Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Deep Blue Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deep Blue Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 505. Today is Sunday, March 22nd, 2026, and I'm glad you could join me today. We're recording late because today did not go as planned. It happens. What was that? It was just due to a strange series of events, just felt very unproductive. But that's okay. We'll survive. Um, so what we are coming off of now is the Bay Area Yarn Crawl. So um, that started last weekend and ran all the way through this weekend. So I did not win anything. I guess there's still a little bit more time, but it appears that I was correct in my assumption that I wasn't going to get out today. um, would it be if yeah, it's just would it be not too crazy, but it was just like I managed to get 2 bingos on my card with the shops I ended up going to see. Um, but it was going to be super duper hard to do any more than that without going to Livermore or Morgan Hill. So they're definitely, so last year I visited all 24 of the shops. This year I was able to visit one more who hadn't like previously been in the crawl. Um, but it all worked out in the end, so not too worried about it. Um, so there is a bit of stash position which we'll save for the end. But yeah, a little bit more challenging. Working full time. So I think it is, or what was it? I would definitely say that planning to do like 4 or 5 shops in a day with breaks for little treats along the way was plenty. So not too crazy there. Um, and what was it? I think we'll start with this one, and it might be a little bit tricky getting it out of the bag. Um, but who knows? We'll just systematically do this in steps, and I'm sure it'll be fine. Um, so what's going on right now is I need to detangle my keys from my knitting, and then we need to see about getting the knitting out of the bag because I dropped it in unceremoniously, and that might have been a mistake, but we'll see what happens. Honestly, I think there was like some troubleshooting that needed to happen that I'm guess I'm still in the middle of. It's like, what is going on here exactly? I think I just had to like look at it for a bit. Um, and decide how I wanted to approach it. So the light amount of troubleshooting is because I got to a certain point in the knitting of this, which meant I needed to do I had to make a bad choice. So I think we're going to fix it with a decrease and move on. um but basically somehow I had gotten like the count off, I guess, when I was working this particular leg of the sock. And so I'm guessing that's probably the best course right now. No, it really was that I was off. Oh, no. I don't know what's going on right now. Whatever I just did was a bad idea. Um, it was not good. Okay. So, we're gonna back that up a little bit. Um, so what's happening right now is I noticed that my setup row was wrong on this particular part of the sock, and so I was trying to fix it by like dropping down and redistributing the decreases and figuring out the right spot, and um, that might not have been, or whatever. I wouldn't put it past me that I cast on the wrong number or something like that. But I think I'm back on track again, so we're just going to accept it. So hexagons is a Kristen Hall pattern that is in the book Think Outside the Socks. Um, and it isn't the only pattern that I knit from the book, but it's definitely the one that why I bought the book in the first place and that sort of thing. Ooh, we dropped some stitches there, which probably means that decrease disappeared. Yeah. Okay. um, so I do, um, so the fact that this is the third time that I'm knitting the pattern probably does speak to what it be, just like what a supremely cool and graphic effect you end up getting with it, basically. Um, and at this point, it is looking a lot more like a sock. So the hexagon that I'm working on right now is the heel turn hexagon. So I have completed the leg of the sock. I have not had the Dear Sweet Lovable one uh, try it on and make sure it got past his heel. But like it is a really cool way to use variegated yarn. I cannot deny that. Um Maybe we laugh a little bit about if I had done every hexagon perfect. But it's fine. It's fine. So it would be the case where this is our heel turn hexagon is connected to these two. All the next round of hexagons will basically mean the foot is going this way now. And then I'm planning on incorporating the one I already made that was a little bit too small as sort of the second there. Um, no. Could you wear it the other way? Whatever, it's fine. Um, so it's coming along. This was the only project that I ended up bringing it with me yesterday because I wasn't sure if it was going to be a tight situation, and it wasn't too bad. So I was like, okay, I'll just bring a small, like one bag instead of two bags. And so we made decent progress on the socks. Um, it's not my primary project. um, I'd be rather be knitting on the sweater. But the sweater is in like a slightly weird spot at the moment, so we almost have a sleeve at this point. I am right now um, working a longer ribbing than the pattern called for. I'm not sure what's going on entirely. I suppose actually the right course of action is that I need to take out the sweater, which is the fit that I'm modeling for, and just put them on top of each other and take some photos and figure on what I want to do exactly. But I knew in principle, because I do have another cardigan that does have like I want to say like a 6-inch ribbing on it. So that's what I'm doing here, and hopefully it doesn't result in me using up all my yarn, but I could probably get another skein without too much pain. If that is the situation I find myself in. Um, but basically, like all of the trims and only the very top of the yoke are actually this darkest color, so it's fine. But when I last tried it on, it seemed short, and since this is gonna be more like a coat than whatever, though this one is like the same basically, so I treat this guy like a throw-on sort of thing, but this one doesn't have any buttons, and interestingly, the shape of the brioche hugs the boobs just so. Um, so would it be? And obviously, I've had a bit of an epic with getting the sleeves right for whatever reason. I don't know what's happening. Um, so we're pretty we're pretty close. So one thing that I could do is whatever, or what I probably should end up trying to do is trying it out again and seeing how everything's coming together. Because it's always fun to do that for the podcast. So let's find find the appropriate needle to pop this on. That feels like the inappropriate needle to pop this on. Um, so here we go. I knew it was nearby. So this is the Nightfall cardigan or Skoomring. It is by Skein Knits. Um, I am obviously a little bit annoyed with the sleeves right now, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to knit the other one right away. um, I ended up needing to do a lot more modification for the sleeve than I was anticipating. Um, and I don't know if this is like, because I don't think I had like overly tight floats or anything like that, but for whatever reason, I had to basically knit several inches before starting the decreases. I added basically a whole inch of positive ease when I ended up doing the cast on, and then that just made me very surprised that it was still tight. Um, and yeah, so we've been on a whole saga with this, but it's fine. So, and I think the yarn situation on this is a little bit crazy because I was avoiding cutting things after after all of that. So, whatever. But like this is where we're heading. Unless, of course, we're like way off in length for some reason. I don't know. This is why I need to like lay this sweater out and do a lot of checks. But whatever. I was like, now is probably a good time so that I can finish deciding what I want my total length to be. Ah, and other such fun. So, like, she's cute. Like, we now, like, it's a reasonable amount of ease. We have a couple stitches popping off right now, but that's probably not the end of the world. We'll just pop them back on because that is the miracle of woolen spun woolly wool. But like it's pretty close, but it does seem that we're maybe like a little bit more bracelet length at the moment. And obviously like I ended up basically doing the trick where because of the long ribbing that meant I didn't really need to do a ton of extra decreases. Obviously that doesn't blend in as nicely with sort of the snowfall motif, but um it should be fine. Um, but yeah, so I just need to take this and lay it out and see how things coming together, but I think it's going to be maybe another half inch to inch before I'm satisfied with that. We'll see. Um, so yeah, that would be bottom of arm. So like it's really close, but it's not quite there yet. And so I didn't want to bring it with me when I wasn't really sure how often I was going to try on it, that sort of thing. So we're getting closer. Obviously, it would be nice if the sleeve wasn't as much of an epic. And then it's also, I don't know, maybe like depending on how everything falls, because I was just sort of rejiggering it so that it sort of fell in closer to the right spot. So, but yeah, no, it's sort of strange, but whatever. So I'll check in and see where things are and that sort of thing, because it's fine. Um, and yeah, I probably don't want to go too much further until I do that. Um, but like obviously things do get like a little bit different when you put it on the body. I have no clue why my phone is beeping so much. Um, what what is going on? Eh. sounds like. I didn't need to know my weekly report. Um, so as it stands right now, it's like a little bit more than 4 inches. Um, that was like roughly what all of the other sections turned out to be, so I don't know where it all went, but um, but yeah, it is making me just making sure the sleeve is in a pretty good place. But like it definitely um like there probably is maybe a little bit too much ease in the elbow, but I'm not too worried about it because yeah. Because like yeah, and then it's also the case where would be. It's also the case where I do wonder a little bit if it will hang a bit differently with the second sleeve on there. So there's that too. But this is going to be stunning. Um, very interesting to put the Rama on after having the Hillesvåg Solje on yesterday. Would it be like this isn't a merino, but it's definitely uh less prickly than the Hillesvåg Solje was. Oh, so coming along. It was like I'm probably just need to be very quantitative about what I ended up doing because it will be like this is a number of rows project. So um yeah, so I will be making the same number of rows for the other sleeve and it's fine. But I don't think I'm going to resume knitting the body at least for a little bit just because I just want to do the same thing as the other sleeve, that's all. um but hopefully I don't get hopefully now that I've had all of these sleeve shenanigans, um, that whatever, the second sleeve will be a lot more straightforward because I won't keep ripping back. It's like it was the right choice, but it's annoying. But whatever. So, and then maybe at some point I'll figure out why it was weird. I guess I don't know. It's fine. So, I'm really happy with how it's turning out, what's going on. Um, and it's really just some details right now where I need to I need to measure it tonight and figure it out so that I can hopefully start the other sleeve. And then it should be pretty straightforward work from there. So, not too crazy, but whatever, it's fine. So I have been, or because I ended up starting a new show, this has meant that I have sort of made some more spinning time for myself. I've also been trying to be gentle and hold on to the joy of knitting vacation. um, and so I haven't, I've been just trying to ease back into the shenanigans. But as a result, um, I don't even know where I left off. We're just dropping skeins all over the place. So I have been working on my fiber rainbow. Unfortunately, this does not work as a hands-free holder. Um, so I know teal and green were done before. I don't know whether or not yellow was plied, but we've gotten that. And then I made, spun, and plied the orange one since then. I think the yellow was done last time. So, there was a lot of brown in this, and so it definitely is darker for sure. Um, and I cannot at all recall what my yardage was, so, and obviously you can see with some of like the curlies in all of these that they all do still need a bath. But I think we're doing pretty good for like a 2-ply sportish weight across this project, trying to relax and spin thicker and have my take up be faster so it doesn't take as long to spin amount of yarn. So it should be a much faster project overall than my previous one. Which was basically the same weight of yarn, but with 5 plies instead of 2. So, and I've been making the bats as I go. So basically I'll finish plying one of these and then I'll roll into building my next bat. So we have these so far, and then what we're having come in is this one, which is sort of reds and pinks. Here, we will artfully tilt so that we can capture the overhead lighting appropriately. So this one didn't have as many darks in it, and I am wondering if that does end up adding to the overall beauty of things. We'll just toss that back in its place. Um, but so I finished the first half of the singles, and then this is one of the bats that I ended up making. So, I think this one has sort of the lighter colors more blended throughout. And this one, I had like a pretty big length of this like true red silk, and based on how it's spinning, there's definitely some tussa. It's like tussa is like the spinning equivalent of Velcro. Um, so it's interesting. Like I can feel it. I'm not sure I can see it, but I can feel it. And so it just makes the drafting like a little bit more crunchy, for lack of a better word. But I think that is helping me in making sure I'm drafting thicker, because if it had been mulberry, that silk, then it would have been off to the races in fineness, and I don't think that's what's going on here. So it looks like I should start spinning from this end when I start getting to it. I had just finished the other bobbin last night, and there had been no chance to do anything. So I think with that, um, so we have 4 finished skeins. We have a half finished one, and then we have 3 more bags left to go. And this one just looks sort of wild because we have some stuff that doesn't look pink at all, but whatever. Um, so this one is nominally my pinks, and you can see a little bit of that acidy pink in there too. So we'll see what, like, this shouldn't be reddish. I think my purple will be pretty clear, and I think I'll actually like this one a lot because I have both some really light and really dark components to it, and so I'll probably try to blend that throughout. And then I have my blues, which I think at this point I'm gonna end up doing last. Um, so like it'll probably be like a a couple more weeks or a few more months in order to finish the project, but that'll be so much faster than my last one. So, um, I am really loving building the rainbow, so that is cool. And then I don't know if I'm still on board for um if I want to do something like Hitafude or something else. We'll see how I feel. It may be defeating the purpose of Hitafude to do that. Um, since it would be ends. um, but I'm sure it could be any number of things. It's not like it's a big deal. Um, or something else entirely. Options. Um, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see what I end up deciding on. Um, like I think it does want to be one project, so that's fine. Let's see. So that's all the project stuff that's going on. Um, I do feel like a certain amount of urgency, and I probably do need to start swatching for a shawl. It was the case where I spent um, it's like after discussion from the last podcast of figuring out if there was any thing from like the Tuck Stitches book that I really, really wanted to do, but I think I have to swatch it. um, it's gonna have to happen. But I might look at my other brioche books and see if there's anything there that really needs to happen. Um, so we are now rolling into the Bay Area yarn crawl section. If you do not want to see my stash positions, that is fine. um, so my friend Leanne is the organizer for the Bay Area yarn crawl. So we get to hear about all of the shenanigans. And I will omit that from this discussion. But it'll be very interesting tomorrow night and at night to find out about all of the silliness that occurred. Because yeah, it's fine. um, so I knew after doing all the stores last year, I did not want to do that this year. And I don't think there was realistically like enough time because like it definitely felt like a very full day to visit like 4 or 5 shops in an outing. So the idea of doing 24 across whatever four weekend days was yeah. Um and what we like I feel like I got myself into like a little bit of trouble because at some point you're just like, ah. Um, so much exposure to yarn. It's fine. Um, so I got to visit Cottage Yarns for the first time. A plus on easy parking. Maybe, what would it be? They definitely have some nice stuff there, but you sort of have to know in advance. Um, um, and I was the case where I sort of like walked through the store a couple of times because like got there earlier than my friends, and then I was with my energetic toddler, and so he could fit in places that I couldn't. Um, but what it be? They're just um, it's the sort of store that has like the yarn still in like the 10 skein plastic bag. So if you knew what you were looking for, you could probably figure out what was going on. Um, and then it was organized like in like a somewhat sensible way. So since I wasn't really shopping hard, I was like, okay, whatever, it's fine. Um, what was it? Um, so I ended up picking up things Firebird, um, at Fillory. So Firebird is in San Francisco, Fillory is in San Jose. Um, and I also got stuff at Fengari and Lovefest Vipers. And then Dharma, which was funny because, yeah. So the first weekend of the crawl was just tools, um, and stuff like that. So I picked up a 1.5 needle so that I could finish my sweater. I also got a 1.5 9-inch circular to do that. And then also, I should have needle tips in here somewhere. Once again, in order to finish my sweater, because I definitely had needle tips fall off on me. So, somewhere in there, I will need to reintegrate it. That is fine. Um, but that was sort of like the nice thing. Um, is like there's 2 stores in the area that will carry Xiaogu tips, and it's RNA and Hayward and Fillory in San Jose. Since my friends were already going to Fillory, I'm like, definitely need to pick that up there. Um, and then what I ended up doing, I ended up picking up some stuff at Dharma, which I'm trying to pull up off of the floor. Is I got stuff to tie-dye. So I got like a pretty beefy shirt for me. Um, I got a dress with pockets. Observe my pockets. Oh, you cannot observe my pockets because the dress is inside out, but you could maybe see slightly darker areas where that would be. Um, behold, pockets. And then I got long sleeve t-shirts for both my kids. So I got a size, I got the size 3 and a size extra small. Now I'm pondering whether or not I wanted the 3, but whatever. So they should be plenty big enough that the kids can get in them. And because I ended up getting more than $50 of blank t-shirts, I got a skein of yarn for free. So extra fine merino self-striping, the online super sock for 4-ply. This is so 75 ultrafine extra fine merino and 25% nylon. So pretty nice. So pretty nice freebie, all things considered. It's like it just feels really good. It's probably not as good for socks, but whatever. It was like there was some blue in it. It was fun. So, not too worried. Um, but so that was like my first week things, and then yesterday I ended up picking up sort of three different types of things. So one of the women in my knitting group is Lynn of Peninsula Yarn, and so she was having a trunk show at Fingari. So I ended up picking up these three skeins. So this is Sea Flower, which is her show color. And so it's sort of like a very light teal with pinks and purples. And then to go with it, I picked up Pearl Orchid in the Surrey Fluff. And so this one has many of the same colors, but sort of in different proportion. Yeah, and there's even like a little bit of like yellow speckle in this as well. So I'm thinking that this could be um, like a top of some sort. Um, we'll see. We'll see what I come up with. But I did want them to be all together. Eh. And then my friend Sasha, this is her favorite base ever. So this is Ecolofine. So from Sea Change Fibers, it's 500 yards and 100 grams. And it's 85% merino, 15% silk. Oh my gosh, I probably need to vacuum in here very badly. Um, and so this is the undertow or undercurrent colorway. And so the idea would be to have some sort of um, top out of this. So 1,000 yards should be fine. Should be plenty. Um, but yeah, no, this feels so good. But my friend Sasha lost her mind. And that was from Firebird. Catherine of Firebird is like, I'm pretty sure that's the biggest transaction of the day. um, Not me, Sasha. But Sasha was trying to figure out if she wanted to partner up with Sharon, and I'm like, I'll take that from you. And then she found out when she was checking out that there were two skeins of that. And so I rescued them. If there, I guess if there had been three, like that would have been sort of any fingering weight top. So honestly, I'm probably not very limited. There's a lot of things that I could do with that. And then the final thing that I got is mending related. So I got a Shishiko mending kit. And so what I thought was nice about, and this is, I got this at Love Fest, but I think Embroidery Panda is the person who put the kits together. And so what I appreciated about this, yeah, Embroidered Panda, sorry. Um, Boop. So it just had everything that we needed in order to do stuff. So we have a variety of fabrics, we have um, a variety of the patterns, and needles and thread. So um, I figured that was what really needed to happen. And this will help clear up some space in my room because I can um, get rid of stuff that I don't need anymore. But whatever. Obviously, I did not be too worried about it. But effectively, like, this is just like a little zine. um, but I did figure that um, that I did want to do this, and I was going to like do things like in a different way, and then it was maybe it was just like a little bit annoying because um, like there were a couple of stores that like were selling embroidery floss, but then had no needles. um, so I just found it to be weird. The hole that Michaels has left, or whatever, the hole that Johannes has left, is very weird. Um, and I think from like a yarn industry perspective, like it is only going to get worse because several, or what is it, like private equity is after the yarn business right now, and private equity is selling things for parts and cheapening things until it's no longer good, and then selling the rest at a fire sale, which is whatever leaves craft not a good place. So would it be? So it's definitely worrisome when, what would it be, at least for me, when you hear about knit picks being bought by private equity and having brand partners being told like you cannot talk about like the travesty of ice, and would it be can't talk about knitting or crocheting a melt the ice hat. It's like so it's definitely the case where it's very, very frustrating, basically. Um, and like there's definitely debate like in the knitting community about it, which is like what are you doing to protect your neighbors, and um whether or not that's performative or not. But it's a whole different thing to be like you are forbidden from talking about it. So it's wild to me. So it's or what, and it's just the current administration is so terrible, and it would take too long to list all of the ways it is. I don't have time for that. So, what would it be? So, it's just the case where I feel it. Would it be? There's many things that aren't great about the world today. And it is my sincere hope that we will be able to get through these times and begin to repair the damage that's been done to our country, because it is definitely a source of stress right now, for sure. Um, I think other people probably can speak much more eloquently than me about it, but my heart is there too. um, so would it be any other observations from the shenanigans? Not that I can think of. Would it be? I would say, um, crawling with a toddler was definitely a bit of a challenge. um, Basically, at every stop, except for cottage, we had to visit the yard store bathroom, so I feel like that was also an interesting side quest. I think my favorite bathroom of the journey was the Peninsula Flocknets. Um, as you do. Um, but whatever, it's fine. Like, that's just the reality of someone who is, um, would it be? It was also the case where I was, since it was like special, like mother son time, like, even though it really wasn't a trip for him, he was like, we need to do this again tomorrow. I was like, yeah, you're just like having a lot of attention, dude. But I will say, um, it was definitely a lot easier not having the kids along, but what it be? It's just like whatever. My son is 4 and he's having a lot of big feelings. So he's not napping, hence recording in the nighttime. So all these things we gotta work through. So it means like as parents, like my spouse and I need to have more vigilance basically and need there isn't as much like downtime for when you don't need to be whatever keeping things running smoothly. Um so that's the life stage we're at right now. Um Kathleen, my daughter, did not end up doing any crawling this year, which is probably fine. I think yesterday my spouse and children went to visit a fountain, which the joy of that was taking the public transit. So it's all good. Let's see. Anything else? I don't know. I think the only other thing was I did find my lace swatch. So you can see the ring lace, all of the beads, the beaded bind off. It's like now I need to figure out oh yeah, you can see the ring. I don't know. That was intense. So these will probably end up going into the swatching class storage, so it's all good. But that was in with my sock, so I'm glad we got that sorted. Um, so shouldn't I don't think there'll be any problem with recording again in 2 weeks. If there is, I'll just figure something out. Maybe I do it in a slightly different location. We'll see. Um, yeah, I probably do need to. What is it? I have to do a lot of, or what is it? What I'll probably end up doing next is laying everything out for photography. Um, and then I'll have to figure out when a good time to tie dye is, because like last year I ended up picking up the reactive dyes for tie dye, and bizarrely because of my spouse's hobbies, I already had the other the other component that you needed in order to tie-dye with. Um, like he has around in like 5 gallon bucket format, so can take some. It's fine. so so that should be good fun. Um, and then I'll just have to figure out what I want to tie everything with. But even something like this was probably fine. Um, and what was it? Yeah, it'll just be the case where I'll just have to decide sort of what sort of shapes I want to do. But whatever. It's a fun experience. Um, and then I'll just have to figure out how much dye I need to mix up. So I have, in surprise no one, I think I have three. Yeah. Bright blue, marine violet, and turquoise. So yeah, that should all it'll be gorgeous. I will like it. And then does this have enough? All right, 2 teaspoons of dye powder per 8 fluid ounces. So that should be fine. So I'll just have to, and they also give it in gram measurement, so that will probably be what I choose to do. It's like we gotta use that that dye scale for something, so I'll just figure out how much liquid my already existing containers can hold and go from there. But that's, I don't know, I'm really looking forward to that. Um, and then what would it be? I have to figure out what I want to do. What I want to do next for spinning. Um, I want to do this next for knitting. Um, but that involves figuring out what my pattern needs to be, or swatching a ton. So I don't know. I don't know. It is gonna be brioche of some sort. So we'll see how it goes. Um, and then the only other thing was I did end up getting like a new display. So I'm a crash test dummy for work. So it's exciting to get to take the brand new thing and be able to use it. But that box was like legitimate. Like, I don't know, maybe I haven't weighed it, but I think it was like a 50-pound box. And like, I have like all these weird scratches and soreness from getting it back home again. It's like texting, like, please, someone pick me up. Like, getting from the office to where the buses pick us up, like at least 3 people asked me if I needed help. So no fun to be on the struggle bus for that one, but it's now in my house. I At some point I'm gonna drive into work so that I can bring back my old monitor, and maybe I'll use it at work. We'll see. It may be the case where by some sort of technicality I can get it replaced. I feel like I am within the spirit right now, so it's okay. Um, no one's contacted me about giving back my other one, but my other one is sort of janky. Whatever. So, should be fun. Anything else? I think that's everything. So, um, with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking soon. So, take care, guys. Bye bye.